Hi everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and today I'm going to share with you how I made this really cute card. This is part of the Team Stamp It Fall Blog Hop, and I know at first glance this probably isn't a typical fall card, but for me fall does mean back to school. And some kids are going back to school, my son included. So I think this is a really nice card to give to a child who is going back to school, someone who maybe even isn't going back to school, and you just want to tell them that you're proud of them for all of the craziness we are dealing with in the world today with the virus restrictions and everything else that's going on. So I think this is a really fun card. Now I may actually swap out a different animal today. I'm not really sure because this Zoo Globe stamp set, which does coordinate with the, oh my goodness, I think it's Snow Globe stamp set die. So you have the die and you have this little part that cuts out. It's a really cool set. That actually carried over to the winter holiday mini August to December. It's a mouthful catalog that we have. So you could also interchange some of those parts as well and the dies specifically. But I did do a little bit of fussy cutting today. I did fussy cut the koala. So if you can see him on here, he is up on some dimensionals, which I thought would just be cute. But you could also swap out the giraffe if you wanted to, or put the birds in the tree. That's another really good idea. Actually, put the birds in the tree would be really cute. If you really had some patience, you could fussy cut these as well and put them in the tree, but you could kind of work with that. But I think that's another good idea for a card too. This also would make a really great card if you needed a baby card. You could change this to a blue theme, to a pink theme, or to something yellow or green if you wanted it to be a more neutral card. But I think this would be a really adorable layout for a baby card. So I do have one other option today that I thought would be kind of neat for the background. So I'll share that with you. I don't know if I'm going to do it that way, and maybe we'll do it and we'll add a little bit of something different to it. So we'll kind of see. What we're going to do to get started though is we're going to stamp our little guys that we're going to cut out on a piece of Whisper White, and we're going to use Memento ink for that. So I have all my people here. I feel like I definitely want to do the elephant because I think he's really cute. So we'll do that for sure. And I'm kind of just stamping these spaced out because I want to be able to die cut them with the stitched circle die, which I use for these three. And I just used 3 because I thought it was enough and not too much. So you could do more if you wanted to, or less if you felt like it. You know, it's up to you. It is your card. You can make it your own. So let me take him off. I'm going to try to use just one block for these. And let's do the tree. And maybe we could add the birded. Now, if you see, when I did the tree, what I actually did was I stamped the whole tree and colored it, and then I kind of just picked a spot and die cut it. So it doesn't have to necessarily be the whole thing. Gosh, now I'm torn. Should I do the birds or should I do the koala? The koala is really cute. Maybe we can put one little bird in there and color him and then still put the koala. Let's see. You put a bird up here. There we go. And then I'm still going to do the koala. Now, I want to tell you one other thing. I stamped the koala where I wanted to put him just so I kind of knew, but I'm just going to put this one right up here. I also fussy cut one, so I'm just going to stamp this one. This one doesn't really matter how dark or light he is. He's kind of just there because he has a lot of an overlap with the tree the way I put him, which is why I ended up fussy cutting this one and putting it on top. So he does look kind of crazy when he's stamped down there. All right, and then, you know what, we'll do it the way we did. We added the bird, and then I'll do the background the same. Oops, that's a little too wet. Move her down here. There you go. All right, so that's pretty much it with the memento. Now, one other thing I do want to stamp, and you could do so proud of you. You could say happy birthday, let's go, it's a good day. There's lots of funny ones. How about we'll change this one to wishing you the best. Now, with the words, this is just my particular choice I like. I'm going to use VersaFine ink because it gives really, really good detail for lots of things, but specifically for these little words. And I'm going to stamp this down here at the bottom. Now, VersaFine does need some time to dry, so you really want to make sure that you put it somewhere you're not going to accidentally smudge it. So we'll put that down there. So we're finished with the black for now. And now we're going to let these set to dry because we are going to color these in. And what I have is I kind of changed a little bit of the size of the papers here, and then I have one other idea you could use as well. So our base card is just jade, and this is 4¼ by 11 scored at 5½. So that's our base. So that's going to stay the same, and we didn't do any stamping on that, so I'll leave that there. But then I thought if you wanted to swap up your background from cinnamon cider, so instead of doing cinnamon cider here, what you could do if you wanted to is a piece of the In Good Taste DSP, and it will kind of lighten up the whole feel of the card. So maybe we can swap to that, and we'll see what it looks like if we don't like it. This is for the inside, so I'll save that for later. And then this part, I actually made the panel a little bit bigger, so I want to see what this looks like, because this first one was 2 inches by 5. This one's a little bit, I think I might still trim this down just a little bit because I feel like it's going to take so much space on that background DSP. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this down to 2. Just for the sake of, I don't want to mess it up. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll try this and we'll see what this looks like. And if we don't like it, we can always go back. Now I am going to stick with the, now I wonder if I should do black. I'm going to try the cinnamon cider. Don't mind me, I'm just talking myself through what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do the cinnamon cider the same way I did the background for this one. So I'm just basically stamping the giraffe very randomly, and then I added in the leaves as well. So we'll just kind of put him in a couple spaces. Actually, this looks really cute with the giraffe with this color. Turned out really, really, really cute. So I have the giraffe. And then I'm going to add in, I thought this would be adorable as well. There's also grass. Kind of looks like cut grass. So we'll just put that in here. Just put just a couple of these in a few different spots. Just kind of changing things up. And then I still want to add in the leaves. And the leaves are just a little grouping of 2 leaves together. So we'll just kind of put these in randomly. This might even end up better than my first card. Okay, let me wipe this off. All right, so that was cinnamon cider. Okay, so we're going to set this over here to dry. Then I'm going to wipe this off. Then I'm going to grab my Just Jade ink and my little panel here, and we're just going to put balloons. And I just basically inked this in Just Jade, rotated the paper. Some of them are partial. Just like that. So same thing, I'm going to wipe this off. And I believe that is pretty much all the stamping we have to do. Let me close this up. I'm going to wipe this off. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way. And I am going to wipe off my fingers and this just really quickly. Okay. So then what we're going to do, I'm going to set this on the side. Now we're going to bring in our blends. And now that I think about it, I'm sorry, someone is yelling for me in the background. If you hear him yelling, he may come up the steps. So we're going to do Balmy Blue. And I'm going to do light to start. You just realized I'm upstairs. And then we'll do some dark. Funny how when children realize you're not on the same floor, it's a catastrophe, right? Meanwhile, you were down there for however many hours and they didn't notice you. Put in a little bit of light. Okay. All right, so that's going to be for our bird. And you could do your bird any color that you want. Then I'm going to bring in light, actually dark crumb cake. And I'll put just a little bit, just a couple spots. And then this is light soft suede, and I'm going to do this with the bullet tip just because this is a little bit thinner of an area and I don't really know where I'm going to cut yet with the die. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Bring in just a little bit of, this is just for the beak. I don't know how much it's actually going to show up, but I did a teeny bit on the beak there. That was Light Mango Melody. And then we're going to bring in a little bit of dark. This is Dark Soft Suede. Just kind of decide where you want your shadow to be. Again, doesn't really have to be perfect, so don't feel like you need to make it perfect. Then I'm going to carefully go in, and I only say carefully because I already went out of the lines just a teeny bit, but I'm just going to kind of blend these together. This is the Light Soft Suede. You could probably use your bullet tip, but all right. And then the other thing I'm going to do, and I'm just doing this just so he's colored in. For any other reason, as if they look underneath, they'll see it. I'm just coloring in the koala. So he isn't really like super specifically colored on that one, but I am going to go in. So this is Light Smoky Slate for the koala. I'm going to bring in a little bit of dark gray granite, just in a couple shading spaces. Go back in with the light. And then I'm going to bring just a little bit of dark smoky slate. Just like that. And that's good enough for him. Same thing, we do want to stick with the same colors when we're doing the elephant. So I'm going to start with the dark smoky slate, add in a couple shaded spaces. Kind of on part of his ear and where I think his shading would be. Then I'm going to go in with the light smoky slate and kind of fill in the rest of it. One other thing I thought after the fact, and it's just now occurring to me that you could do if you want, and I'll share this with you in just a second, is because we kind of just have these dudes floating, and I didn't even think about that. I'm going to come in again with my bullet tip and just highlight those dark areas I added. Go over them just a little bit more with the light, but you could put a little bit of shading underneath of them. It doesn't have to be a lot, just for something, so it doesn't look like they're floating in the air like this guy is. So I'm just going to go back with this, put a little bit of shading, so it just kind of looks like they're standing. So didn't even think about that with the first one. So we have our elephant, and then with our kangaroo, what you could use is you can use the soft suede or the crumb cake, but I realized what I did was I actually used the cinnamon cider. So I'm going to do the same thing again. So kind of just bringing in a little bit of cinnamon cider, generally all over the roux. And then I'm going to come in with the dark and the bullet tip, and I'm just going to put some shading kind of under the pouch, under the arm, only teeny little bits onto the Joey, since he's going to probably be lighter in general. I'll put a little bit here. I'm going to go back in again with the light and just blend it out. And I'm going to still go back in one more time and just bring just a little bit more shading in. So just going to bring a little bit of that dark cinnamon. And I think that looks pretty good, but let me add a little bit more of a shading underneath it here. Just doesn't have to be a lot. I think that was dark. No, that was light smoky slate. And you don't have to necessarily shade with gray. That's the other thing you need to remember. You don't have to shade with gray. You can use blue. You can use anything for your shadow. Quite honestly, it doesn't really make a difference, just as long as you have some sort of a shadow. So I'm just adding just a little bit to it. Okay, so finally, the last part we're going to do is we're going to do the tree. Oh, and look what I did. See what I said not to do? Be careful with your hand, and I have these all over the place. So I'm going to have to do this one over again. So I'm going to start with the light Just Jade, and I'm only keeping this with the bullet tip because I'm at the edges, and I'm hoping that my coloring here is going to cover up all of the little wishing you the best that I now moved all over my entire image like a ding-a-ling. So maybe that wasn't the best place to stamp that since I'm right-handed. I'm going to go in now with the dark Just Jade and just create a little shadowing. Not really shadowing, but you kind of want to give a depth to the tree. So I'm kind of just adding this in a couple different places. And then what I'm going to do is go back once again with the light and just kind of blend them out. And I can probably still see the wishing you the best, but quite honestly, I'm sure nobody else is going to notice it. You know, that's kind of how we all feel about our cards when we make a mistake. But I am going to have to go back and stamp my sentiment over again so I can trim it out. I should have waited, and I knew that, and I didn't. Oh well, live and learn, right? Okay, so that looks pretty good. And I'm going to go back one more time with my dark with the bullet tip, and I'm just going to kind of add in a little bit, just a little, on a couple spots. There we go. That looks good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my snips, and I'm going to just cut this little dude out so I know he's going to be safe and out of the way. I'm going to grab him just quickly and fussy cut, and I am trying to stay kind of close to his line, only because it'll look better when you put him onto the card with the mini dimensionals. Which is kind of funny. Remember, just last week I was saying how much I cannot stand using the mini dimensionals because they're almost too small. Well, they work perfectly for this guy. I'm going to show you what I did. So I have him. So I took the mini dimensionals and I actually cut the little ones in half. And they fit absolutely perfectly on here because of the shape of his body. So I'll have one here. And then you could have either used a whole one on the head because it's big enough, but I already had mine cut in half, so I'll show you. So you have a whole one here at the top of his head, and then a half one on the bottom. So we'll leave that there. So that worked out really well. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this over, move him over so I don't lose him. Put my blends over here, and I'm going to bring in the Big Shot. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just cut these out. Now, originally I wanted to use the very smallest stitch circle, but it's almost a little too small. So I'm just going to run these three through. We'll kind of decide what we're going to do. Now that I think about it, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit the bird and the koala on the same thing with the tree. So we'll have to see how that works out. You know, hindsight is 20/20. Obviously not the year 2020, because this has certainly been a doozy, but 2020 like we used to know, right? Although maybe in 2021 we'll think a little bit better, right? All right, so let's see. I want to keep the bird and the koala. You know what we can do? I'm going to kind of offset this to the side, and we can always have him hanging off the bottom, so we'll just do it like that. There we go. Okay. And I do apologize. I know with me wearing this microphone is super helpful because you can hear me better, but because I have a microphone that is less expensive, the way it attaches, I'm sorry, sometimes it probably does pull stuff. So we're going to put him so he kind of hangs off the bottom, which is going to be fine. It's not going to make a difference one way or the other. And then we have these guys as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and peel the dimensional backing off of these three. And I'm going to put him right here. It's kind of funny because I don't know if you guys can see this, but the way the tree is, it looks like he's wearing glasses. Which kind of reminds me of Mr. Moon, I'm sorry, in Sing. In case you ever saw that, it was a really, really cute movie. All right, so let's put this together. We're going to see what this looks like before we finish. So we have our base. We did this. We're going to do one more thing here. We have this is the banner triple punch. Now this is a little bit too big, but actually what you can do is if you slide it into the front, and I'm going to flip this over so I can see where I do it. So if you slide this in this way, kind of on the top, you really can fit in any size cardstock. You just don't want to go necessarily into the grooves there, okay? So we'll go ahead and flag that end. So same thing again. So normally you would slide it in to here, so you would need to have one that fit in between. But if you go underneath, so you can see, you could even do it this way if you wanted to. Now I'm not sure why you would want to flag something that big, but you're just basically going to slide it in. And then I like to look at it from the other side to make sure that it's remotely even. So there's that. Let me move this over because I just realized I wanted to do one more thing. I still have to stamp this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this. What did I pick? Wishing you the best. I'm going to stamp this and I'm going to set this on the side. I might have to hit this with the heat tool. I might just save this for last. Probably what I should have done in the beginning. Set it on the side. All right, so we're going to assemble our card. So I do want to use my bone folder so I have a nice crisp edge for my card. It stays closed when I want it to. And I think this is going to turn out adorable with that little addition. Yep, super cute. So I'm going to just use some, if it works, because, yep, some liquid glue for my layer here. Just make sure you put this so it's facing the correct direction. Make sure your card opens on the right. Unless you want to make a left-handed card for someone, which I'm sure they would really appreciate, because I think we probably don't have any left-handed cards for all our lefty friends. I'm married to a lefty, as a matter of fact, which is kind of funny. A couple of my very good friends are lefties. Okay, so there is that. Then you kind of just have to decide where do you want to put your little guys, so we can kind of rotate them around. Just like that. Now, you could pop these up on dimensionals, which would be something fun. So we'll change that. We'll do these on dimensionals. Look at that. I have a fresh pack of the large dimensionals. Aren't you proud? So I'm just going to do 3 on each. 3. Okay. And then for this one, you can see I glued these down flat and then I popped this one up on a mini dimensional. So that's something else you could do if you want, but we will put the words flat since we're going, since we're going to pop up these 3 circles. So I'm going to kind of just set this very gently. I just don't want it to go outside of the card margin so it still fits in the envelope well. Put him over here. I think I'm going to put him down here. I think something about the layout, he looks a little better over that way. Put our Kanga over there. And let's see. I'm going to leave a little room because I still am going to cut up the words. So I'm waiting for this to dry. So while I'm going to do that, we're actually going to finish the inside. So what we'll do is we'll take our inside panel and we will bring out, and I just thought of this now, so that's why I said we were done stamping, but I fibbed. I'm going to bring in my Just Jade, and I'm going to take the little grass line. We'll just put this across the bottom. Like so. Then we will take our birds, and there are actually 2 birds. So we'll put these in 2 different spots so we can do them. And I'm going to do these with something different. We'll do Misty Moonlight. And I'm going to stamp just a bird here, another bird here, and wipe that off. Do one more bird going the other direction. There you go. So you have 3 little birds. Well, look at me. I'm making song lyrics happen. And then we will, just to bring in the color, because we did use the cinnamon, I'll put this on the inside. Make sure it's stamped correct in the correct direction. It's a good day. It's a teeny bit crooked, but that's okay. So there you go. It's a good day. Okay, so we'll add this to the inside. You could also, if you wanted to, with this DSP, if you felt like you could add a little strip to it or something like that, you could blend your grass at the bottom if you wanted to. Or you could just keep it simple. You could even use your blender pen and color in the birds if you felt like it, but this is a nice and easy card. You know, a lot of times I'm not the one that does the simple cards. Everything I do has to have 15,000 steps. So let's do this. We're going to do this the best we can. So I'm going to just trim this down. And actually, I'm going to get out my little reverse tweezers. I'm going to cut this. That way I know where it is. And when it falls, we'll just grab these. So I'm just trimming these down really, really close. And apparently I didn't trim it quite far enough. Okay. So now for this. You could do these with dimensionals if you wanted to, but what I'm going to do, and this one I need to trim just a teeny bit. I'm going to take just a little bit off so it's really close to the W. Is I'm going to pick this up with my tweezers. I'm going to put just a teeny bit of glue on the back. And we'll just kind of spread these out. Again, you really do want to wait to make sure these are dry so they don't smudge. That is only, again, because I did use the VersaFine ink. So if you're just using Memento, you'll be fine, but I really like the way VersaFine does the words really, really crisply, so that's why I really like it. It is the same maker as Memento or Stays On. It's just that Stampin' Up! Doesn't actually carry it. This one I got a little bit crazy with my glue because I got a little bit goopy, but it will dry clear, so I'm not really concerned with that. So let me pull this out and I can show you these two different stamps so you can see what they look like. And we are all finished. If you have anything you would like to buy, I would really, really appreciate it. I am only $200 from hitting the Flex Point Accelerator, which I have never hit in my Stampin' Up! Career as a demo. So if you have anything to purchase, I would really appreciate if you shop in my online store. It's rachthestamper.stampinup.net. Every little bit helps. I am sending out a free 81 tutorial bundle as a thank you gift for this. It is 81 tutorials for autumn. So there are several autumn stamp sets in the holiday catalog. I believe they start on page 51, but I could be mistaken. So you will get that as a thank you gift. So it has 81 different tutorials, which is amazing. There's a lot of different designers that I participated with, and we all made this massive tutorial, and I think people are going to absolutely love it. So I hope you like these two cards. This was the original, and then this is the one we just used a piece of In Good Taste DSP. And you can see it does have some glue. I got a little crazy with my glue, but it will dry clear, so we won't have any issues with it. And then this one, we actually finished the inside as well, which is really, really cute. So I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would really appreciate if you give me a thumbs up, and please leave me a comment here. I do read all the comments on YouTube because I get a lot less comments on YouTube. So I do read every single comment and reply to probably 90% of them on YouTube. So if you have something you want to say, you can say it here. You can also send me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com. If you would like more ideas, you can go to my blog, which is rachthestamper.com. I'm sorry, my email is rachthestamper@gmail.com. If you'd like to go to my blog, it's rachthestamper.com. I have lots of different ideas and stuff on there for stuff that you could do for many, many different cards, lots of different techniques. And if you're new to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button and then just make sure you turn on the bell icon so you're notified every time I make a new video or if I do a live video. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.